we are keeping ourselves from a destiny that we signed up for. Whatever you need will begin to show up. The problem with most of us is that as it begins to show up, we then institute the thing that keeps us from formalizing and manifesting and creating the destiny that we signed up for. It's why I say to you with absolute certainty, when you have the passion, just the presence of the passion and nothing more, that's all you need, just the presence of it is a guarantee for you that you have the capacity to manifest it, attract it, and create it in whatever form you would like it to show up, just because you have the passion. And the Tao doesn't teach you to think big. It teaches you to think small. Thinking big is a mistake, according to the Tao. Because when you think big, you can't get big things done. We can only do things in this moment. So it teaches us to be in this moment. It says you can get anywhere from here. It's really simple. You go through what you have to go through, even the torturous things that you have to go through, in order to be able to give. Because the most important thing that you can learn, according to Lao Tzu, is that when you are at one with what is called the hidden virtue, which is the hidden godliness, kindness, goodness, love that is in you and what you came from, when you are in harmony with that, all of your life is about giving. When you're not in harmony with the hidden virtue, all of your life is about getting. So you make the shift from getting, what's in it for me, how much am I going to make, how well am I going to do, what does my ego say, to how may I serve, what may I give, how can I do it. So I want to share with you what has been happening in my life in the last year. It's been a magical year. It's been a transformative year. And I got involved in doing something that not only produced a book, which I completed 2 days ago, but more than it being another book that I've written, it was something that allowed me to see the incredible power of passion and enthusiasm. And when you get it in your hearts, and my objective in the short time that I have here with you today is to convey that to you, what you need, what you're supposed to do, how it will work out, what financing is required, what people you'll need, what circumstances you will need to align with the stars or whatever. All will be taken care of if you stay with your passion. And I'd like to suggest to you that whatever your passion is, and even if you don't know what it is, whatever the feeling you have inside of you that says to you, this is what you're here for, you have to do this. As absurd as it may sound, as ridiculous as it may appear to everyone in your environment, including your husband and your children and your wife and your ex-wife and your grandchildren and your neighbors and the people you work with and the people you encounter everywhere you go. It may sound like the most absurd thing for someone of your age at this time, given these circumstances of your life, to be even contemplating something so crazy, whatever it might be. And yet, if you can hold on to the passion, just hold on to that. Hold on to the passion. What you're doing when you're holding on to the passion is you're holding on to God, because the word enthusiasm and passion are the same, and theos from the Greek is God. Yasm means within. Enthusiasm is the God within you. The God within you. And this voice, if you read the 10 Secrets for Success and Inner Peace I put out for my children several years ago, I wrote it for my teenagers because I put down in there the 10 most significant and important ideas that I thought they should know long after I was gone. One of those ideas was the second one. It's called Don't Die with Your Music Still in You, that you came here with music to play. So not dying with your music still in you is a very important idea. It's one of 10 that I carried with me for a long time and wrote it so that they would have it and be able to read that and know what I was speaking about. But beyond that is something that I have come to know, and that is when you have that passion and you hang on to it, and you don't let any obstacle come in your way, you're hanging on to God. And another synonym for God is love, right out of the New Testament. God is love. And he that dwelleth in love dwelleth in me, and I in him. So now we're looking at enthusiasm being something, or passion being something that relates to your staying connected to a field of energy that is dominated by something called love, and that is God itself. And we all have this wonderful choice as we come into this world. And the choice is whether we're going to stay aligned with that or not. The writing that I have been doing is from something called the Tao Te Ching. Now the Tao Te Ching, T-A-O, it's pronounced D, but it's Tao. Tao. The Tao Te Ching, the Great Way, was dictated, I should say, 2,500 years ago. It's the longest surviving spiritual text on our planet and the most sales of any other thing other than the Bible, the Tao Te Ching. And very few of us know very much about it, but you will. It's interesting because it was written and created at the very same time as the Bhagavad Gita, 2,500 years ago. Buddha, Lao Tzu were contemporaries, as was Confucius, Zoroaster, Socrates. All of these beings were walking on the planet at the same time. It was a vortex, an intellectual, spiritual vortex. Not long after people were just crawling out of caves, 2,500 years ago. Remember, we think of the Middle Ages. That was 12 or 1,300 years later. And this was 500 years. 500 years. 5 centuries before the birth of Christ. This man who lived at God consciousness, at God realization, was dictating to a guard, they say, as he was leaving his village in ancient China, and he gave these verses, and there are 81 of them. 8-1. Infinite source. Once. 81. Bhagavad Gita, being written at the same time, has 18 verses in it. One infinite source. And there are 18 holes on a golf course. I mean, how do you put that all together? There's got to be a connection there. There's got to be. So these 81 verses, I got this idea, and I never know where the next thing is going to come from. And it's why I say to you with absolute certainty, when you have the passion, just the presence of the passion, and nothing more, that's all you need. Just the presence of it is a guarantee for you that you have the capacity to manifest it, attract it, and create it in whatever form you would like it to show up. Just because you have the passion. Because it's a knowing within you. And when you stay with it and align yourself with it, the book you have to write, the music you have to create, the artwork that you have to do, the child that you absolutely must adopt, the business that you have to open up someplace out there that no one else understands or grasps. The thing that won't go away. The thing that won't go away. When you keep it there, when you stay aligned with it, and you keep that alignment in harmony with God, with Spirit, whatever you need will begin to show up. The problem with most of us is that as it begins to show up, we then institute the thing that keeps us from formalizing and manifesting and creating the destiny that we signed up for. Things like doubts. Shakespeare said, our doubts are our traitors. These are traitors. These are things that we live with and we hang on to and we spout and we talk about, and we don't realize that in just the most innocuous and innocent of ways, we are keeping ourselves from a destiny that we signed up for long before we ever entered into this world of form. So I was in England about a year and a half ago. I was lecturing over there. And a friend of mine in the United States, one of my best friends, told me about a book that he thought I should read. He said, it's so well written and it's so impactful. I think you should read it. And then I kept seeing, this is what happens. Carl Jung coined the term synchronicity or synchrodestiny, as Deepak calls it. And it's this idea that there's sort of a collaboration with fate that begins to take place when we stay connected to and attached to our passion. Not to how it'll happen, Not to if it'll happen, not to when it will happen, but just to it. We just stay there. And then we get into that state of bewilderment and awe. And as we stay in that state of bewilderment and awe, we start seeing a change take place. I call this book, Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life.